Hello and welcome back to Behind the Curve Gaming. In this episode I have done the obligatory game collectionist's faux pas. I need to get rid of stuff, I need to sell things. Oh no, I've got to get rid of my entire collection. Joke. Roll the intro. Right, so yeah, as the title and the thumbnail and all that kind of stuff suggests, I do need, or I would like to, or I've come to the difficult decision that I need to move on pieces of my collection. Now there are a few reasons for this. So let's just jump straight into that, because this week it's pretty hot in the UK. This sheds, it's a sweatbox. It's horrible in the summer and it's freezing cold in the winter. Yeah, well, what are you going to do? But hopefully in the future we'll sort that out. Yeah, so hopefully they're in shop. But last year I bought these two 7th generation white consoles, a PS3 Slim and a 360 Slim. Now, I'm not sure if you can see, but the 360, pretty white, and I believe they do generally stay quite white. It has got a few bizarre strips of sun fading, so I'm not quite sure how they kept it, but definitely got some sun strips on there. PS3 a little bit less so. These do tend to yellow. Whatever finish is on there is not particularly long lasting, and yeah, it's an off white. I wouldn't call it yellow, but it's definitely an off white now, and I'm gonna admit that I made a mistake. Now, I'm a big enough man to admit that sometimes I make mistakes. You know, I copied someone else's idea of a white setup with white consoles, and I thought, you know what, I think I would like that. I'm going to save up for white consoles and a white unit. That's exactly what I did. I got both of these last year, CEX for this one and Vintage for that one. And to tell you the truth, you know, 6, 8, 10 months or whatever I've had these, probably longer actually, because we are halfway through 2025. They haven't really brought me joy. I thought that I'd be like, oh, this is amazing, I'm going to play all these. Looks great, I'm loving the symmetry of white across the board. It's going to push me to get the PS4 Pro or a Death Stranding edition, whatever. It hasn't, and I've come to a realisation that I could do with moving them on. Now, I don't believe that the market is particularly strong for these consoles, despite the fact that they're going to be much rarer and harder to get hold of than the standard kind of the black consoles. So I'll pop up a few solds here and there depending on where I'm standing in the shop, but I think you're probably looking at like maybe 10-20%. I'm sure. I had a very brief look at solds on eBay. I'm sure every now and again, a 30 or 40 pounds, you get a white Xbox 360 going through. Not too much more for the PS3 Slims, unfortunately. People go crazy for that. I think it's the white Super Slim, or if it's boxed in like the God of War box as well for the PS3 Super Slim, that's hundreds and hundreds. But ultimately, I hate the Super Slim. It's such a budget, tacky little machine. The original PS3 and the PS3 Slim, they've got some sort of build quality to them, a bit of heft, a bit of style. The Super Slim just seems to be like a case of, we've got all these internals, let's just chuck it in a little cheap plastic enclosure and off you go. I admire it for how compact it is and how it retains all functionality of a PS3, but it's awful. So yeah, a bit annoying that these aren't the ones that have garnered the price, and I need to tell myself that whilst they are limited edition, or there's much fewer of them, I'm not going to reap the benefit of holding them in the loft for 5 years, or at least I don't think I will. I doubt these are going to skyrocket, so I've come to the conclusion that I should probably just sell them. I think I would much prefer, for the PS3 at least, I've got a Slim just sat right down there, a PS3 Slim Silver. I much prefer the Silver, and I really would like a matching DualShock 3 in Silver. I think it just looks really, really good. So I'd much rather have a limited edition console, whatever, in that space that I like the colorway of, rather than trying to go for like a matching theme, because that's just not going to happen across consoles generally. So yeah, those are those two items. The other part of this, which is why there's a few more items as well. One, I am lucky enough to have some storage space in the loft. I can rotate things out of this room. I've not got a huge amount of display space, but it's display space. I don't want to be taking up room with stuff that I'm not bothered about, so I can move stuff out, move stuff in as it takes my interest again. But ultimately, that stuff in the loft, there's a lot of stuff up there which I don't think I will have any intention of ever playing. Maybe I've bought it because it was cool, or someone else thought it was cool. I've watched a video of someone else thinking, this is really good, you should buy it now. I found a really good deal on one of those, I should get one of those for myself. And then I've got no interest in actually using it or playing it or whatever. And I'm pretty sure of anything that I've bought over the last few years that I've been doing this, none of the prices have actually skyrocketed on anything that I bought. That's certainly not the game that I'm in. I'm no good at that. I've never really tried to think of it like that. So, last reason. Unfortunately, every year I have a few big yearly bills that come out rather than monthly, just after Christmas. And that's always a tough time for big bills that have to be paid. I need to keep my cars on the road and maintained and all that kind of stuff, make sure I'm insured. Those are big bills if you're paying them yearly, and they suck. So as a responsible adult, or at least someone masquerading as a responsible adult, because none of this screams responsible adult whatsoever, I'm going to try and make a head start on that saving. And I think that's a really good idea. As someone who's probably entering a midlife crisis, I'm going to try and be responsible and make a head start in savings, right? None of what I'm selling right now is going to be making huge cash, but it's a good start and it clears a little bit of space. So as all the things should be in shop, by the way. Spell of, what is it? Yeah, it's a Wizarding World book of spells, PS3. I think this is basically some sort of, is it an unofficial tie-in? It's a kind of like a Pottermore. It's not proper Harry Potter. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Either way, it's for PS3. It's novel, more than likely. And these used to be like £30–40. It is complete. It's got the motion controller, it's got the camera, the book, and the game in there. I do need to try and plug it all in just to at least make sure it works. Doesn't sound like a lot of fun. I've got no interest in doing that. But for the sake of getting a competitive market price for it, I need to ensure that it works, because that's not who I am. I don't just go, it's all there, it's bound to work, and I'll sell it tested and working with market rate. It's not who I am. If I am not willing to test something, I'll sell it as untested, which generally probably ends up being barely above spares repairs. So I'll try and test everything that I do have. Not at great lengths, because it doesn't interest me. It bores me to death. So yeah, don't know what these are these days. Maybe what, 20–25 quid? For Wii, box Wii with the inserts, complete, I think. I'm not sure if it's got Wii Sports in there in the cardboard sleeve. These are slowly going up. These used to be 35–40 quid boxed. Maybe they're 45–50 quid now. If you've got kind of like the Wii Resorts, Motion Plus, boxed, all that kind of stuff, then they might be 60, 70, 80 quid depending on the condition. This one's meh, but it's complete and boxed and it is working. So maybe 35–40 quid. I mean, I might get 40–45, but postage, that's probably 3.5–4 kilos. It's going to kill it. It's probably going to be about £5–6 postage. Not fun. And last but not least, I picked up a handheld console, trying to spot one in the room, under the impression that it was going to be the best way for me to play, handheld at least, my old Pokemon games, because the smaller version had a backwards compatible slot. I found that this one did not. And that in question is a DSi XL. I think this is a wine red model. I got this for about £35 on Vinted. CEX want about 85–90 quid I think for these. However, I don't think the second-hand market is anywhere near as strong as that. I think you're looking at about 40–50 to pick up an XL. It does have the matching stylus. It's got, I think it's got an official charger in the box down there. But yeah, the DS Lites here had a backwards compatible Game Boy Advance slot. So you play your DS games and your Advance games. It was a great and easy way to play your Pokemon Leaf Green or whatever it might be. And that's exactly what I use these for. And I got that and went, oh, they did away with it. That was stupid. Let me know if there's a reason Nintendo did that, but let's just say they're not exactly pro-consumer sometimes. Hey ho. Looking at you, Switch 2, that comes out with an inferior screen to the OLEDs, and Joy-Cons which aren't fixed, I don't think, so good luck with that one. yeah, so those are the things that I'm going to be moving on slowly but surely, stripping onto eBay once I can actually just get them tested. That'll raise a bit of money, clears a touch of space. There's more stuff in the loft, but again, I'm either just going to be selling it in bulk, just saying, I think it works, or it turns on at least, or whatever. I'm actually going to need to take the time to go through it so I actually get a decent price for it rather than just letting it go super cheap just to clear space. Now, before I absolutely bake myself to death in here, there is a new addition to the room. I didn't get a video out last week, unfortunately, but I was busy in this room. I spent about an entire afternoon, and thank God it was last week and not this week. I put in a retro console shelf. Please go watch the video where I picked it up, this old CRT TV. Just a budget one, bit scuffed, but it's a cheap entry point into the CRTs. And it's been amazing. It's so bright and vivid, and it's amazing. I've been sat here with my son, and my little girl says, play Sonic, and she just wants to sit there and watch me play Sonic as we all listen to this like whir and get headache inducing shit going on, and it's crazy. I love it, it's amazing. So I thought, well, I can't have all the stuff plugged into this, and I say all the wires out. By no means is it neat, but I routed a load of cables and everything. I put loads of stuff under there, so it's all somewhat neat and in its place and not just loose. Got everything plugged in, PC and my 1X, the monitor speakers, all that kind of stuff, the CRT, the Sega, the N64. We're all ready to go. I got myself a supposedly shielded RGB SCART lead for Mega Drive, which someone mentioned in the last comments on that video, so thank you very much for that if you're watching. And I've also got the standard composite cable or whatever it is to test against it, just to see if I can see a difference. That might just be a 5-minute video in future. In terms of what I'm after soon or next, I need another Mega Drive controller. I do think the A button on this one is dodgy. I keep saying it in videos. I think it is dodgy. Compared to the other button press, it even feels a bit loose and crap. I want a 6-button controller. I think it is essentially a necessity for Rage of Streets 2. I think either way, more buttons can't be bad. So let me know if the third-party ones are any good. Other than that, I'm probably going to go for the official 6-button. I think they're about £20–25. The other thing that I want is the N64 expansion pack. Now I don't need to worry how it looks, because it all looks how it's supposed to look. I want the expansion pack just to raise that resolution or textures or whatever it does per game. Now the most economical way of doing that, unless I come across an amazing deal on eBay or whatever, they're about 50 quid by themselves. However, on the consoles on CEX, I think the difference between discounted, no expansion, discounted with the expansion is about 25 quid maybe, something like that. So yeah, that seems to be quite economical. If I can trade that in, it'd be discounted, but whatever. That's like £43 towards it. Trade in a few of my loose cartridges and a few other little things I can trade in along the way. That'll pay for an expansion pack and a console to replace it with a 5-year warranty. Unfortunately, it would be nice to get one of the interesting colorways, the blues or whatever, the green, the reds, but they're quite expensive and a lot of them just aren't in stock. I imagine they're probably at a premium on eBay as well, so I'm going to forget about that one for now. Last thing of note, it still irks me big time, but I need a microphone. I've been after, or at least hoping to save up for one of the like DJI mic mini thingies, and eventually then get a DJI Pocket 2 if anyone knows what I'm talking about. It's all too much money. The mic's like 60, 70, 80 quid. I'm probably just going to go for a highly rated one on Amazon and just see how it is, just so I kind of lavalier, clip on or magnet or whatever, just so that my audio is a bit clearer. I'm not the most clear spoken person, unfortunately. I do have to try my best, but it helps just so that you're actually picking up my audio rather than it's going in and out sometimes. I don't have to try and raise and lower it so much. Okay, so there we have it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I hopefully will see you in the next one. Thank you very much.